everybody, and welcome to this episode of The Bodacity Show. I am your hostess, Jeanette Anderson, and today I have the beautiful and amazing Jennifer Tamborski. Did I say it correctly?
You did.
Before we came on with me, and we are here today to talk about digital marketing and especially how you use ads effectively on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, and how to get seen more in your digital marketing. And Jennifer has some unique perspectives. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about her, and then we're going to find out the real juicy tidbits, and then we will leap into that topic. So if you're in business and you're trying to work your way through social media, you want to definitely pay attention. If you have questions for Jennifer, put them in the chat. I will try and pay attention to the multi-screens and catch those. If not, then we will definitely get back to you after this. So let me tell you a little bit more about Jennifer. Jennifer Tamborski is a digital marketing strategist and CEO for virtual marketing experts. First day with the new mouth. She and her team work behind the scenes in their clients' businesses, creating, managing, and optimizing profitable digital marketing strategies and campaigns that produced unprecedented levels of growth for their business. Sounds very awesome and very good, and like all the things that no one actually wants to do except for you weird people like you. Welcome, Jennifer. I'm really happy to have you here. And so we'll find out a little bit about Jennifer and her why she does what she does. But for those of you who hear the words funnels and your eyes glaze over, or Facebook ads and your butt goes tight because you know how much money you've wasted and so forth, just try and set all that aside, listen newly, listen freshly, and let's see if we can get some practical tips for how to make that work effectively instead. All right, so that's the official bio, Jennifer. That's about your business and so forth. But tell us about you. Tell us something we would never guess wouldn't find on your website, or that people wouldn't know just looking at you.
So I don't think this is on my website. It might be somewhere buried in there, but I actually have a biology degree. So my degree is all about science and statistics and all of those kind of things. And really the marketing aspect of my life came in later through actual working kind of thing. So I am a really big nerd. I think that's on my website. I'm not even gonna lie. I think that part's on my website.
We would have already guessed that. That's not a very big secret. The biology degree is interesting because that is a bit of a segue, but similar, nerdy, scientific, statistical kind of interest.
Exactly.
Yes. So tell us something that we wouldn't guess that's not in the kind of nerd vein. What's the funniest thing about you?
The funniest thing about me, Lord, I don't know I don't know that I have anything that's overly humorous. I read a lot. I read a book a day.
Wow. How do you read a book a day?
I get up at 5 a.m. and I read between 5 and when I start working between 7:30 and 8. And so I read really fast. However, people are really impressed by that. And they're normally romance novels. So it's just that escapism. I never watch TV unless it's a cooking show.
Yep.
So those are like my hobbies of things, but I do read extensively.
Wow. All right. So that sounds like, because you can read those fairly quickly, but still, that's a lot of consuming and reading, and you should just quit it a book a day, and then they will think that you are just like Warren Buffett that reads a book a day. Yeah, you'll be in very good company. All right. So let's talk about, actually, before we go there, what's your why? Why do you do what you do? Why do you care about this work? Why do you care about funnels and all the rest of it and helping people with their digital marketing?
So I actually love business. I find business fascinating and fun. And I know there are so many people out there that struggle with getting out there and getting in front of people. And marketing has become is essential. It's always been essential, but I think more and more as we progress into the digital age, it's becoming more and more critical to have really good marketing. And it gives me the opportunity to be incredibly creative and think completely outside the box of like what somebody would normally do, and come up with new solutions for people to continue to grow and develop their businesses.
Okay, awesome. So, and is this something that you've always been kind of enthusiastic about, not just business, but helping people figure out how to work through systems or
Yeah. So when I first started my business, well, I got out of college, I have an environmental science degree, tried that for a little while. It wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be. And so I ended up working as an executive admin kind of thing in that field. And then when my kids were born, I needed to do something else. And I chose to work as a virtual assistant and started, again, it was helping business owners continue to grow their business, taking those tasks off their desks that we're struggling with. And along the way, I actually ended up working with a lot of fabulous marketers and kind of learned on the job what it takes to really create successful and profitable marketing endeavors.
All right, well, let's hop into that because it's a big topic and lots of what you're talking about are areas that people have a lot of challenges with. So
Yeah.
let's start with the basics. When should people, at what stage in their business, should people consider doing ads on any platform?
So I would suggest, honestly, you need to be making close to 6 figures before you start investing in ads, right? Because it is an investment and you want to avoid having to start and stop, because that is the biggest downfall and the biggest mistake people make in marketing in general is the starting and stopping. So ads are just like any other marketing activity. You need consistency. You don't have to spend a ton on ads. If you know what you're doing and how to do it, you can actually effectively use ads at like under $500 a month in ad spend and get leads that way. Obviously, the more money you pour into it, the more leads you're going to get, the more sales opportunities you have, and that kind of thing. But to get started, I really think like you just getting your audience out there, getting yourself, developing that audience even before you're ready to maybe launch a program or do that next thing. But you do want to have a really consistent income of somewhere around $10,000 a month so that you can take some of that to invest in your ads.
Okay, so let's talk about ads because I think probably many people on here, I know myself, have done ads inconsistently. And one of the big challenges is what works keeps changing. They change the algorithms, they change they do what they call the slap, the Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or Google or various places change what they're doing so that the small investors, they want to get volume, they want to get lots of people running ads and stuff, and then they want to make it really hard so only the big investors can actually work and make money. So they change the algorithm and do something like that to kind of weed out the ones who don't know what they're doing. So it can be very challenging to figure out and stay on top of. So how do the answer is going to be hire an agency that knows what they're doing. But how do people know let's start with which platform to do ads on, and what are the big differences between the ads on the various platforms?
So the platforms you're going to want to use are going to depend on where your ideal targets hang out, right? So if your ideal target is a CEO or an executive at a corporation, they're most likely not spending a ton of time on Facebook or probably not even Instagram. They're going to be on LinkedIn because that's the platform for business owners. However, if your target market is a mom or another business owner whose target market is on Facebook or Instagram, they're going to be on there because that's where they're communicating with their audience. Also, don't forget there's YouTube ads and Pinterest ads and Twitter ads and Google ads, and like there's Reddit. Every platform has ads. So really understanding where your target market hangs out is going to be essential in knowing what platform is going to be best for you.
Mm-hmm. So that goes for all the posting and everything as well. But I was just glancing over here because I was like, I don't ever remember seeing ads on LinkedIn, but there is usually one on the homepage, right?
There's always ads on LinkedIn. You get ads in your in-stream, in your in-mail, like there's sponsored posts that come through your mailbox all the time. You might have seen it from Capital One or from, one of the big players. Those are all sponsored ads. So there's all kinds of ads on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is just, people have not yet become used to seeing the ads.
Right. And there's not as many, they're not as ubiquitous as they are like on Facebook.
Right. They don't have like the side panels and all of that kind of stuff like Facebook does. However, they still have like in-network ads where things are being posted on a network, articles that come, go through their network and that kind of stuff, just like Facebook does.
Okay. So tell us overview. And most people kind of have this notion of you want to run an ad to something that has a funnel. So a lead magnet or a webinar or an event or whatever. What's working well now in terms of converting best from ads? Is it lead magnets? What is it?
So quizzes do fabulously in ads. Everybody loves a quiz. Everybody loves to figure out what's my, what's my favorite color, whatever the thing is.
What animal?
Everybody loves quizzes. Yeah. What's my Disney princess? And there's a way to really make an ad gamified so that it's fun for people and gives them really great information at the other end. Mm-hmm. So quizzes do fabulously. Actually, you can get leads coming in that way really inexpensively. Like a quiz lead right now still runs under $2 a lead on Facebook. So you can get some inexpensive leads. And the positive of a quiz funnel is you get to dump them into where they belong, right? So depending on how your business is set up, you can determine who's ready for that next stage of your business or what you need to teach them or talk to them about or what offer you can make to them.
Right.
So those are fabulous. Downloads are great if, I'm going to qualify this with, if you're using a lead form ad. Sending someone to your website for a download doesn't get you tons of results. However, if you use Facebook's lead forms and then give them the download, so you capture their information there, you tend to get a better ROI on that, a better option. And then you connect them to your email sequence and send them down your funnel. Same thing, just a different method of connecting someone. And then webinars, masterclasses, challenges, workshops, whatever you want to call that training, still work. The cost per lead may be higher depending on how seasoned your pixel is and how well you target. However, you have a better opportunity to sell from the stage at that kind of thing, at those kind of trainings. And it's a less amount of warming up and nurturing to get them on a sales call.
Right. Okay. And most of this, many of you will know some of these words. If you're not understanding some of the concepts, make sure to put them in the chat so that we can help you out with that. And so there was something you just said that I wanted to ask. It was about lead magnet. Oh, yes. Do landing pages convert the same as a lead form?
It will all depend on what the landing page's purpose is.
For downloading.
So if it's a download, it does not. Once you send them off, you actually get a lower cost per lead by keeping them on Facebook and then giving them the download. Once you send them off the site, it's more costly to convert them.
Okay, so then on Facebook, you want to use a Facebook form and capture them there without sending them off. Can you do the equivalent on Instagram and LinkedIn?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So rather than setting up a separate landing page for people to opt in, it's better to do it right from the ad to the form on the platform.
Yes, so because the thing with all of the platforms is they want people to stay on their platform. So the more you can do on the platform, the less costly your leads are going to be. The other side of that is without getting really download technical, iOS 14 caused a lot of integration issues with the tracking of things off-site. And so you'll also get a whole lot more, which is why they don't necessarily penalize as much as promote and give more value to keeping them on the site where they can collect the data and they can tell you what's working and what's not working.
So does that mean that like Facebook would probably give more profile to people who are using a form on their site than they would to people who are running an ad that takes them off the site?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good tip. And what's the can the form be all the data that's collected in the form? Can that be integrated with your CRM, or do you have to download and import it?
It's possible. It's all, you can do all of that, so it's automated.
Okay.
Depends on which platform you're using and what type of automation you need to set up. It is possible to do.
Okay. And so that's a great thing to know right there, is that you keep them on the site rather than send them off to a landing page. What are some of the other common mistakes people make when they're trying to capture leads from ads to something?
So the biggest mistake people make is their targeting, right? Is being very unclear about who they're targeting. They're targeting either too wide of an audience or too narrow of an audience. Either side, like there's a really sweet spot of your audience that works well. It's also really knowing as much as you can about your audience, so you know who to target. Oftentimes what people do is they will target this really wide sweeping thing, and the people they want to connect with aren't actually in that pool, or they may be in that pool, but they never see the ad because 9 bazillion other people see it before it gets to them, and you run out of money first.
Right. So let's talk about targeting. What is too broad? What's too narrow?
So too broad is adding way too many things. Like I've seen when people have come to me in the past, I've seen an audience that has like everything under the sun that their people could potentially like or do or connect with in one audience. Okay. That doesn't actually tell you where your audience is, right? That's way too much. It's not so much the size of the audience as what's in it. So if, let's say you're a realtor and you want to target people that are looking for homes or that are looking to sell homes or buy homes, maybe you target Home Depot, because most people who are making changes to their home actually own a home, right? You're not going to get a ton of renters doing that. Right. So looking at things like that people are doing, what activities are they doing? Also, you can also target other people's audiences, right? Like if you're a coach and you're targeting Tony Robbins or whatever. The thing about targeting other people's audience that you do want to keep in mind is when that person, the big person, whoever that guru is that you're targeting, runs their ads, guess whose ads are going to suffer? Right. Okay. So having your own audience is critical to that, to doing that, which also is where lookalike audiences comes in. So if you've created an email list of people who have opted in, who have bought your program, who, those kind of people, you can then create audiences of similar people of interest. Okay. So I know this is a very big area, and there's all sorts of, we could just spend an hour on just. Absolutely. How about if you give us 3 tips, do's or don'ts in Facebook ads or in ads in general? Because is there a substantially big difference between the ads that you create other than the tone of the platform? So like, for instance, LinkedIn would be more professionally toned than Facebook, right? Right. Other than tone and the target market that you're talking to, is there a substantially different difference between the ads? Not necessarily. Your message is going to be different. Your creatives are going to be different. How things are set up on the platforms are different. Like Facebook, I know people see Facebook ads and there's all of the emojis on there. You can't have that on LinkedIn. LinkedIn doesn't allow emojis. So there's minor things along those lines, but the actual strategy of it is very similar in it. because you're targeting based on who your ideal target market is, and your message needs to be incredibly clear to that.
Okay. And I've got a question from Marilyn. She says, when we collect info from, for instance, Facebook, is that information secure? And do we transfer the info to our own CRM? So is the information secure? And if you, let me rephrase that, if you don't transfer it to your own CRM, could you lose it?
The information is secure. It's secure within Facebook. You don't really, you can lose it. Yes, Facebook can take it away from you at any time, because Facebook can shut you down at any time. So that's, that is the downside of all social media platforms, is that is their audience, that is their platform, which is why it's so essential to move them into your email list where you have the control of things. That being said, you can set it up automatically to move over to your CRM. You can also go in weekly and download your leads and upload them to your CRM if you don't have the skills to set up the automated portion of it. Those are all different kind of things that you can do.
And very important to do that, because I got hacked and lost all of my 5,000 Facebook friends, and no appeal, no one to reach out to. It didn't matter that I was hacked. It was gone.
I mean, that is the one of the biggest benefits of hiring an agency or being a member of an agency membership or having that connection, is that we often have connections you don't.
Yeah.
So when you go in and you've been hacked or whatever, and don't have access to Facebook, we generally do. Right. So that's one of the biggest benefits with having that kind of partnership.
That makes sense. So tell us, I know I could talk about this all day long, and I know you could. Tell us 3 common mistakes you see people making with their ads.
One, the first mistake is that your messaging is too generalized. Like, you have to be really specific and niched into knowing who you're talking to, and not just who you're talking to, but what they need to hear, right? What is it that they need to hear to connect with? The second thing actually revolves around the lead magnet more than the ads itself. Your lead magnet has to connect to your offer in a direct line. The more vague your lead magnet is and the more warming up you have to do to get them to your offer, the more money you're going to end up spending in the long run on ads and everything else. And the third thing,
go ahead. The third one on that one. So give us an example of one that doesn't connect directly with the offer, just so that.
So let's say you have a sales program that you teach people how to sell. Your lead magnet, I've seen coaches do this before, where their lead magnet is about mindset. Mm-hmm. While we all know mindset is a part of sales, that's not what your person is struggling with right now, right? Your person is struggling with closing their sales. Yes. So 5 ways to close a sale in 30 minutes or something along those lines is going to be a direct line, rather than this whole walkthrough of how mindset is connected to sales and why it's so important.
Yeah, I get that. I totally get that. I often say with my clients that as the guru on the top of the mountain, you want to answer and deal with the cause of the issue, and they're only thinking about the effect. So exactly. It's got to be related to the effect, not the cause.
Exactly.
You give them the solution to the cause later, but you got to draw them in with thinking about the effect of it. What's the outcome or the problem? Okay, and what's number 3?
So number 3 is retargeting. That is the biggest mistake that people make, is not retargeting. You waste so much time and money, and you've already got these leads that are warm and they may not be ready to buy, but by retargeting them, you can move them through and continue to move them up your value ladder. And it's kind of just a waste of the resources you've created by ignoring that type of thing.
So tell them what retargeting means. Define it. What does that mean?
So retargeting means you have somebody that has interacted with you in some way, shape, or form, whether that's downloading your lead magnet, or maybe it's watching the video that you created. Maybe you're running some awareness ads of some of the short trainings that you have or something like that. then you send them ads that will get them into the next step of your funnel. Oftentimes this is, if you've signed up for anything like maybe Amy Porterfield or any of those kind of things, you'll get that initial lead magnet ad. And then later you'll see, hey, I'm doing this new training, or hey, here's, you haven't gotten on a call yet. Those are retargeting ads. Those are ads that you've connected with that person and you've done something with them, and they are letting you know what their next step is.
Right.
Reality is that it takes anywhere between 7 and 20 touches before somebody is ready to buy.
Right.
Having retargeting ads can shorten the length of time it takes to get them on the phone with you or buying your product or whatever that might be.
Okay, so how I understand that, see if this is a correct description of it. Once they take step 1 with you from your first ad, then you send them a second ad that it calls them to step 2. Once they take step 2, can you target them with a third ad that has step 3? So
exactly.
In essence, you're using your ads to move them through your funnel, through your first step, second step, third step.
Exactly.
And those ads are going to the people who've taken the first action, then the second action, etc. So it's not waiting until you get them in your funnel and just targeting them with emails or messages. You're actually also targeting them with messages in ads on the platform originally.
Yeah, it's just another layer of communicating with them, of connecting with them. And that's what marketing should be, right? It's all about building a relationship. The more you're able to connect with and communicate with people, the better off you're going to be in the long run.
So how complex is retargeting? Is that something you definitely need an agency for? Is it something people, if they can run a Facebook ad, they can figure out retargeting? How complex?
I mean, it's definitely a step that takes some training to learn how to do. So you don't necessarily need a agency long term. You do need someone to show you how. Like it's a more complex step.
And that's where you're learning things like how to season your pixel and what that weird phrase even means, and how to have a pixel and so forth. What is a pixel besides just a little dot on the screen? What's one of in terms of Facebook ads, one last thing about this, I know that you're supposed to split test and test titles and then test images and then test copy. Is long form ad copy converting better or short form, or does it depend?
It's I always hate saying that phrase, it depends. And when it comes to marketing, it does. It depends on your audience. That's why you're testing things to figure out which one your audience connects with. Some of my clients, we put like 5 words out there and it connects with their audience because we know those 5 words, what those 5 words are to connect with them. And others need a whole freaking page of like copy. That's what their audience, they need more information before they're ready to click.
Right. Okay. And is there anything that you would tell people in terms of how to start thinking about ads as part of their overall social media kind of framing or context?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing about ads is that ads are an elevation of your marketing, right? It's when you're ready for 5, 10, 15, 20 leads a week, and you really want those 10 to 20 sales a month coming in, you need ads to do that. Reality is most people, about 1 to 3% of the people buy from you. If 1 to 3% of the people buy from you, you need, if you only have 100 people that you're connecting with, you get 1 sale, right? Maybe 3 if you're lucky. The more sales that you want, the more scaling you want, the more essential ads become, because you get to reach a wider target audience, and just continue to bring in. So when you get to those Amy Porterfield levels of your email list, that's why she makes $1 million every time she opens her doors for her school, is because she's already got 1 million people on her list, right? Millions of people on her list. So when you're looking at ads, think of it as that. When you're ready to up level your business, when you're really ready to scale from 6 figures to 7 figures and kind of every step in between, that's when ads become more essential to your business.
All right. Great information. If you've got any more questions, please put them in the thread below this recording, and then we'll get back to you with answers at some point. How can people connect with you and find out more about you, and where do they find you?
So I do have a podcast. Everyone is welcome to come over to Marketing Matchmaker. It's the name of my podcast. And I kind of just give away all my knowledge. Everything I know and learn about marketing is on that podcast. I would love to offer your audience a free gift. It's M as in marketing, M as in matchmaker, quiz, quiz.com. And this is really just an audit of your marketing. So you can see what you're struggling, like where you need to up level your marketing in order to up level your business. That is a fabulous way. And then you can always find me on all of the social media channels. Virtual Marketing Experts is, the channels that we have on all of our site, on all of the platforms. And then virtualmarketingexpert.com is my website.
Virtualmarketingexperts.com. Experts or expert?
Expert. No S.
No S. Okay. So I put all that into the chat here. And what's one last thing, Jennifer, you want to leave people with when they're thinking about increasing their exposure, really getting on top of their digital marketing? What's one last thing you want to leave them with?
I think really the biggest thing is understanding your market, your target market, understanding your audience, and being able to clearly define your message. Because your message is what your audience is going to connect with. So having those two things as your foundation is key. Everything else from that is just kind of the next level.
Yep, it's the mechanics to make it work. But without that foundation, you can't do any marketing without
Absolutely.
your market, your message, and what they really care about and how they think about it. So really good to have the fundamentals. And thank you for, that kind of really clear perspective of, if you're not at 100,000, if you can't afford, a consistent amount every month in your budget, then you're probably premature, and don't waste a lot of money on ads, because they're just going to go and do very little.
Here's the truth. If you're trying to DIY your ads, you're probably wasting money, because just like I wouldn't try to do your job. Like if I was a weight loss coach, I'm not going to go in and try and teach people weight loss. That's not my area of expertise. The same goes for pretty much every aspect of your business. It's really important to find those experts to help you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Amen. And in this area in particular, because, oh my God, it's complex. It can be expensive, can be very helpful, but only at the right stage of your business. So by all means, when you think you're ready, reach out to Jennifer, talk to her, talk to experts, and find out what they recommend, because different people have different paths to solving the same problem. And you want to find the path that fits for you, based on the right expert that's a good fit for you. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being the kind of nerd that you are, that loves to help people with all the tough stuff like this. I appreciate it. And thank you really for your stand in helping people get seen, get heard, so that you can be the difference that only you can be. Bye for now, everybody.